All right, we're going to look at working through our green foldable for this chapter, for chapter 3, with our important information on it. And so this might be what you use to help remember what types of angles that we have. So these are good study tools right here. And if we look at these all have a 2 lines and cut by a transversal. And so the angles that are marked off there are our corresponding angles. So 11 and 12 are corresponding angles. If we look at the next one, this is our transversal here. And you can see that we have alternating around the transversal, and interior on the inside of the 2 other lines. The next one is alternate exterior angles. Here's our transversal. Alternating, they're on alternate sides of the transversal. They're on the exterior of the 2 lines. Next one is consecutive interior angles. And so they are interior on the inside of the 2 lines and consecutive. And we'll need to flip over. That's what we're going to start to use in our proofs. And so this is something we need to commit to memory. If you want to print these off and use them as flashcards, create your own note cards from them, it's up to you. But these are the things that we must have committed to memory to be able to go forward. So that's going to be your assignment, okay? So taking a look at this here, we are given parallel lines. So we are given that line L is parallel to line M, so parallel lines. And here's our transversal. And if we're given parallel lines, we can then say that our statement would be that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. And the reason why that is that parallel lines imply corresponding angles are congruent. So the big thing is here is that we want to, in our mind, link together the given information and know that from that given information of lines being parallel, that we can pull out this statement and that this reason justifies that statement. Okay, now look at the next one. The given information changes. The given information is that we have this angle congruent to this angle. And if we are given that those angles are congruent, what we can say is that line X is parallel to line Y. And our reason behind that would be that corresponding angles are congruent and therefore imply that the lines are parallel. And so once again, we're linking together that the given information was that these 2 angles were congruent. And so that congruency, our statement is that the lines are parallel. The reason is that corresponding angles imply that the lines are parallel. And so we want to be looking at notation also and practicing that notation. Okay, let's look at the next one here. We are given that our lines are parallel, and what we can then look at that and say, so line L is parallel to line M. We can say that our statement would be that angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. And our reason for that would be that parallel lines imply that alternate interior angles, those are alternate interior angles, are congruent. Okay. Now here, we're given that the angles themselves are congruent. So now our statement will be that the lines are parallel. And our reason will be alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. Okay, so once again, it's based off of the given information. Given over here that the lines were parallel, Our statement was about the angles, and that the parallel line that was given to us implies that we have alternate interior angles. Okay, over here we were given the angles are congruent. Our statement is lines are parallel, and our reason is that what we have are alternate interior angles that are congruent, and therefore that implies lines are parallel. Okay, we're going to continue on. Here we are given that line L is parallel to line M. And so we're given the lines are parallel. Our statement is going to be that angle 5 is congruent to angle 6. And the reason being parallel lines imply alternate exterior angles are congruent. And here we are switching that given information. This time, given that the angles are congruent, our statement would be that line X is parallel to line Y, and our reason is alternate interior angles are congruent, therefore implying the lines are parallel. And then our last set on this page, we are given that we have line L parallel to line M, and our statement is going to be that angle 7 and angle 8 are supplementary, and our reason is going to be that parallel lines imply that corresponding interior angles are supplementary. Now reverse it. If we are given those angles, we're given these angles, and so now, excuse me, our statement is that line X is parallel to line Y, and that's because corresponding interior angles are supplementary and therefore imply parallel lines. So what we want to look at on this paper is that on the left side, we're dealing when we were given all of the given information where the lines were parallel, and our reasoning started with parallel lines implies something. On the right-hand column, we were always given information on the graph, and our first statement was that the lines are parallel. So when you're going through and doing your memorization and working on your note cards, you want to make sure that you're taking that into account. Now I believe there is one on the back, which is our consecutive exterior angles. So we have exterior, consecutive exterior angles. So now we're going to look at some statements and reasons. These are going to become very important because one piece left over to do. So you can go ahead and turn your paper. Give me a second to get this oriented here. And get rid of this stray mark if I can. Okay. Here, once again, this is like the left-hand column on our other page that we're given that Line L is parallel to line M. And so therefore our statement is going to be about the angles. And so we have angle 9 and angle 10. And they are supplementary. And why? Because we have parallel lines, and parallel lines imply that corresponding exterior angles are supplementary. Ask us here, can we use the given angles to determine if the lines are parallel? Well, if we look at it, yes, we can, because what's given to us is our corresponding exterior angles, and we can use that to then say that those lines are parallel.